Hi, I'm Tori. I'm a 63-year-old baby boomer from Alabama. Welcome to my channel. Or if you've been here before, welcome back. Thanks so much for sticking with me. I really have appreciated all of your thoughts, your comments, your suggestions, your requests, and just interacting with me here. That has put a smile on my face, makes me happy. Um, so thank you for that. And speaking of requests, this is a request that I will be reacting to. It is Code Chisel Khe Sanh, I believe is how it's pronounced. If that's not right, let me know. I have never heard of Code Chisel before or this song, but this is a request. And I understand from the person who requested it that Code Chisel is an Australian band and that Khe Sanh is a city in Vietnam. So that's about all I know about this. So let's get started, see what this is about. I like the piano playing, I like the music.
I left my heart to the sappers round Khe Sanh, and I sold my soul with my cigarettes to the black market man. I've had the Vietnam cold turkey, from the ocean to the silver city, and it's only other vets could understand.
Okay, so he starts by talking about Khe Sanh and talking about selling cigarettes to the black market man. So I guess if you're uh, in a war, you probably have trouble getting things, so you would there would be somebody selling things on the black market. And then he says only other vets could understand. So I'm sure that any of these experiences at war, only other vets could understand. Those of us who weren't there can read about it, or we can listen to somebody talk about it, and we can try to imagine what it must have been like. But I don't think you really know what it was like unless you were actually there. So I think that would definitely be true, that only other vets would understand.
About the long forgotten dark side guarantees, how there were no V-Day heroes in 1973, and how we sat in a Sydney harbor, her son open but I couldn't kiss her. Well, she was lying and I was home to Lucky Land.
Okay, so I'm wondering, I don't know, but I know in the United States that Vietnam veterans didn't really get a welcome home like V-Day veterans, for example, would have gotten. So I wonder if that was also true in their case, if in Australia, if they also didn't get a very warm welcome home, and maybe this is kind of what he's talking about here. And he was talking about meeting, sounds like some girl that he used to know.
She was like so many more from that time on. The lives were all so empty until they found their chosen one. And the legs were often open, but their minds were always closed, and their hearts were held in fast suburban chains.
Okay, so I guess he's talking about her being sexually promiscuous, about legs always open but minds closed, and then about suburban chains. Maybe she had the same mindset that was the general mindset for people then, and if it was the same way there as it was in the United States, that veterans um, were not welcomed home very very warmly, and they were um, not held in very high regard as far as from the Vietnam War. Um, and so maybe that's what he's talking about there, of her attitude.
And the legal pads were your hours long payback with me, and the telex riders collider where the gunships once have been, and cop parks make me jumpy, and I never stop to dream.
Now that's making me think that maybe he has PTSD because he's talking about the cars making him jumpy, and um, so maybe I, you know, like with the symptoms of PTSD, loud noises or things like that would make you jumpy. So I can certainly understand why, if he's been to war, why it would that would happen.
Oh, I would go and meet for speed and overcame. So I worked across the country from end to end. I tried to find a place to settle down where my mixed up life would end.
So it sounds like that he tried to find a place to settle down. He's talking about going from one end of the country to the other. And I know a lot of times veterans and especially if they have PTSD, they have trouble trying to settle in and find somewhere where they feel comfortable and they feel like they're accepted.
I held a job on an highway, flying choppers when I could. But the nightlife nearly drove me round the bend. And I've traveled around the world from year to year. And each one found me aimless. One more year, the world's so weird. And I've been back to Southeast Asia. You know the answer sure ain't there.
Okay, so it sounds like he traveled. He did tried to find a place to settle down, and it just didn't fit. He didn't feel comfortable there. Didn't feel accepted. Um, so I think sometimes that happens, especially when having PTSD and feeling those symptoms of the dreams and the loud noises bothering the veterans, that they just don't feel like they belong anywhere. That they didn't feel welcome back home, and they still don't feel welcome.
But I'm drifting off to check things out again.
So I'm getting the impression that he's turned to sex, alcohol, maybe drugs, different things, trying to find something that provides some relief from maybe the PTSD, and it sounds like it's not really, all those things aren't really helping.
You know the last plane out of sickness almost gone. And it's really got me worried. I'm gonna know that I'm in a hurry. You know the last plane out of sickness almost gone. Well, the last plane out of sickness almost gone. Yeah, yeah. You know the last plane out of sickness almost gone. Lord, it's really got me worried. I'm gonna know that I'm in a hurry. You know the last plane out of sickness almost gone.
So I'm wondering about talking about going nowhere in a hurry, if he just doesn't feel like his life is going anywhere, and he doesn't feel happy, or that he's going to be able to recover from this war experience, or to cope with the PTSD. Um, so I wonder if any of these band members, I don't, as I said, I don't know anything about Coach Chisel. I don't know how old they are or when this song came out. But I wonder if any of them actually were in the war, or if they are sympathetic or empathetic towards veterans who were. So I wonder about the origin of the song. Um, but as far as what I thought about it, I like the music. The subject matter, I think, is a very important subject matter. I had a friend who was a Vietnam veteran. He actually passed away just a few months ago, and so I know that the things that the people there, the veterans there, experience are with them for a lifetime, and they never forget those things that happened. And it certainly affects everything in their life from then on. So I thank those people for their service, whether they were from the United States or Australia or wherever uh, they were from. And I think that um, people with PTSD need our understanding. They do struggle, and they need sometimes some help to get past that. But anyway, thank you for requesting this song. It's definitely a meaningful subject, and I enjoyed finding out about Coach Chisel in this song. So thank you for that. Okay, thanks everybody for being here, for being on my channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, I would really love for you to subscribe. And I hope all of you have a great day. Take care.